It is Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here, Patrick Reusse with me here as well. We got to talk. Got to talk a little bit of Minnesota United soccer here in a little bit, Patrick. We don't always get to the Loons on this segment, but I think we've got a worthy candidate for that today. A little Lynx, maybe a little Vikings too. But Patrick, who are we kidding? I think I know where we're starting after Emilio Pagan. The man everybody loves to hate, the gasoline on the fire of any good rally for another team, gives up 3 runs, 3-run home run on Sunday. Looked like the Twins had a really good chance to sweep Toronto. Really would have been a really good road sweep. They were up 6-1, and then they start to give it back, but they get to the eighth with that score still 6-4, and then Emilio took care of that. I know I know they probably didn't have a ton of options because they used Duran so much in that what was it, the Friday game? They had to use him so much as they were kind of desperate to stop that skid. But man, Patrick, I know Pagan has pitched okay in a lot of these situations, but anytime they trust him in these moments, it seems like it's just like last year. It's just it's the same thing over and over again.
Well, they thought they could sneak him out there against the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. They were the
Yes.
bottom of the order. They were going to let him pitch to the bottom of the lineup. He hadn't been scored on in 7 games since he gave up the grand slam in L.A. to the Dodgers. Who was the guy that he gave it up to, or was it in Anaheim? L.A. right? The
I
Dodgers
can't remember who it was, but it
gave
was
up on that Los Angeles trip. He gave up a
yes.
grand slam, but here's what drives me nuts about him. They keep trying to tell me what good stuff he has. He doesn't have good stuff. He hangs his breaking ball about 2/3 of the time. It's not throwing the ball past anybody. It's just mediocre stuff. But oh boy, they keep trying to convince themselves that he's got great stuff. Plus, he's gutless. Okay, he's gutless. Let's what big game, and I think Phil had some good stuff today about, yes, he hadn't been scored on, but he also hadn't pitched for the lead like 5 of the 6 times that he'd been scoreless here. So yeah, I was shocked when they brought him back, actually, because they gave him pretty good money to come back,
I
right?
know it.
Something, I don't know what it was, but they had given up so much in the trade to the Padres that they felt like they had to try to get something out of them. Taylor Rogers. It turned out they were right on Taylor Rogers, but they also gave $6 million into that deal when they get the Taylor Rogers deal. And then Paddock ended up with Tommy John surgery, as everyone knew he was going to, because he'd already had elbow surgery in October before they traded for him and gave up $6 million. And now, but now they're still trying to get something out of Pagan after he basically messed up the 2022 season when they tried to pitch him in big situations.
Yes.
And and he'll be around and they'll make excuses for him. And now here's their trouble: they end up with about 2/3 of their relievers where they can't trust in big situations.
Yes, I
So they're
know.
left with
Again.
they're left with
Again.
Brock. They're left with Brock Stewart and Durant. You know, they they'll now Griffin Jackson's. They're kind of using him again and in better situations. But they have Jorge Lopez. He's unusable. They got Pagan. He's unusable. And then the other guys are from St. Paul who are part of the St. Paul shuffle. So they always end up with guys. Well, we're going to have to use him in less important situations till you get to the point you got to use somebody in important situations.
Yes.
Nobody goes past 6 innings hardly, even though their starters are pitching a lot more innings than they did last year. They still most of them go six, right? Sonny Gray goes six usually.
Yeah, that's typical. I mean, they
Joe,
are.
Joe Ryan will go seven once in a while, but most of the time it's six. So you got to have three of them you can trust, and they never have three of them that can trust. There's always somebody who's failing them miserably, and it doesn't help to not have Thielbar now. There's something going
Yeah.
on with them. So, but anyway, yeah, it was just pathetic. And I got the impression is a Sunday to the end of what had been a beautiful weekend. Now it got cool yesterday, but I got the impression everybody was at the lake and not that many people was watching because the Emilio hysteria wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to
Right.
be. I did. People were not like charging, suggesting we should go down to Target Field and protest or anything outside the
Right.
gates. But stop, get it's done. I don't care if he can, if he can get him out when it doesn't matter. If he can get him out in non-crucial situations, in non he can come in the seventh inning when you're behind 6-3 and get him out. Oh, Emilio looked pretty good today, and Dick and Justin were embarrassing yesterday after he puked it up, babbling on about how it was only his second home run he given up this year. Okay, yeah, it's only the second time he pitched in a big situation in the middle of in 3 weeks, and the last time he gave up a grand slam. And what's really amazing about the guy is the haste with which he can do these things.
Yes.
Right? The 7-8 hitter get on, and then this guy the guy who's been struggling all year hits a 430-foot home run off him.
Yes.
Pitch just center cut right here, hit me. And then he gets 3 ground balls. Oh, okay, way to go.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. He pitched himself into a lower leverage situation. Yeah, you're right. Phil had a good one there. You're right. He said he wrote Baldelli, mindful of Pagan's unfortunate track record in crucial moments, has handed the veteran reliever only 2 leads of fewer than 4 runs to protect this season. And in each of them, including a loss at Dodger Stadium on May 17th, Pagan has immediately put 2 runners on base and then surrendered a game-losing home run.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's I don't know what it is, but it's he can loop that breaking ball up there and have somebody smack it, and I don't know, he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He had when you looked at him with the Padres, it was kind of the same way as he's these numbers are pretty good, but
right.
Yeah, he didn't finish games. They've really done a wonderful job here with bringing in that flamethrower. Alex Colomé in 2021.
Right.
I always say Alex Colomé waited till opening day to screw up that season.
That's right. Was that Milwaukee?
They were winning that game in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And he made a play that your 8-year-old little league player wouldn't have made. Going, he's got a 3-run lead. And he goes for the force out at second instead of just taking a late. And I'm watching at home. I wasn't there and saying, okay, we got an idiot here. And he was terrible. And then last year, Pagan screwed up the whole season. And now you sneaked him into, and then you had, I don't know what happened to Jorge Lopez.
No, I don't know either.
He's unusable too. He 10 great appearances in April, and he's been unusable ever since. But the bullpen has never been more important to baseball teams than it is the last 10 years, 12 years, and they haven't done a very good job with it.
Can't figure it out. Yeah,
now they got a closer in Duran, but
yes,
that Rocco, Mr. Careful, is desperate to win a game when he lets Duran throw 38 or 39 pitches. On Friday. So,
who the best player in that whole Rogers Pagan Paddock trade turned out to be Brent Rooker.
The old guy, yeah, he's the MVP of the A's. I don't know. Did the A's just sweep Milwaukee? I think they did.
Yeah, I don't know. Rooker's got 13 homers and an 872 OPS this year. He's doing just fine.
He is going to be the proud representative of the A's and and a right-handed hitter too, which they can use.
Yes.
My son Christopher, Mr. Baseball.
Yes.
Who I had lunch with him Friday, I think, and he was savaging the boys with the trades. He just what he wants just to look at the trades these guys have made the last 3 or 4 years. They're disaster after disaster. And I mean, what's the good one? What's the good one?
The Joe Ryan trade, I guess, is the good
Ryan
one.
trade, but yeah, that was a good trade, great
Yes.
trade. Gave up 40-year-old Nelson Cruz, but their track record since then is brutal.
Hey,
So
Arias is down to 397. Okay, so let's
okay,
just
let's relax. By the way, I looked up. Well, Kevin Gausman pitched against the Twins on June 5th last year.
yeah.
The only guy in the lineup, the Twins won that game 8-5. They got 5 runs off Gausman in the first 2 innings, just like they kind of did yesterday.
Yeah,
The only guy in the lineup was Trevor Larnach.
on both days.
That was it in both days.
Wow.
But Louis Arise went 4-for-4 that day. Louis Arise went 4-for-4 that day.
It's amazing.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
It,
and it kind
I,
of it totally derailed. It kind of ruined a weekend where if they just do what they need to do to finish that game, we're talking about a sweep of Toronto. We're talking about the comeback they had Saturday where Correa hits the grand slam and Kepler, two guys who have been really struggling and kind of at the center of their offensive woes this year. Both of them get those big home runs in the seven. They had 7 runs in that inning the other day, and instead, it's right back. They can't get out of their own way. They can't get that momentum going in any positive direction right now.
And for 7 innings on Saturday, they were as pathetic as they've been.
Yes.
They ended up with 17 strikeouts, didn't they?
I know it, yeah.
They ended up with 17 strikeouts, and they were god awful. And all of a sudden, this situation, this Simber, they'd had a bullpen game on Friday, right? Or no, it was
that was their bullpen game. I think that was their
bullpen game. So they bring in Simber, who is throwing some of the most ungodly sidearm slop you've ever seen, and they let him, and he throws a cantaloupe to Correa.
The one to Correa was very hittable.
Like hit me out of the ballpark for a grand slam, and then Kepler hits a home run. So they somehow they just pop up, and if you're watching TV and everything's been solved, things are great.
Right.
And they go out and jump on a lead Sunday and give it right back, and now they come home with their tails between their legs again. Cleveland was just terrible. This is one of the lineups ungodly. Well, they're now 1.5 behind.
Yeah,
and they're they got the best manager in baseball, and they don't feel sorry for themselves. They just play with these clowns that they have on offense and pitch good. And Bieber had pitch. He's getting great again. They're going by him. The Whiteys are going by him. These guys, 77 and 85. They can't hit. They
can't stay, and they can't stay healthy. I guess it wasn't the training staff, right?
No, Jorge's running to first base, and you could see him pull a hammy. And then I was over there. I went over the Saints game Thursday, and I was in Toby Gardner's office, and he'd fill out a new lineup card with Julian not in it because he saw Pagan pull a. You knew Pagan wasn't going to play.
Polanco.
Polanco. I mean, Polanco. Why do they wait?
I don't know.
Why did they have him here Friday to play? You knew he wasn't going to play. But hey, we got to see if he'll be okay. Well, everybody watching TV in Minnesota knew that he pulled something because he's not going to start hobbling to first base. Anyway, the one thing from yesterday's game, though, is that nobody loves the speed up rules more than me.
Oh,
but for the plate umpire to decide that is an infraction when he actually had been looking at the pitcher and then looked down, and at 7 seconds he wasn't staring at the pitcher. That was asinine. That was asinine. It was an asinine It's not a bad rule. It was an asinine interpretation of the rule
I
because he'd
agree.
already looked at him.
Yes.
He had looked at him at 8 seconds. If he wants to look down at his feet while the guy isn't even winding up yet, it's what it would. Now the rule is I have to maintain. I have to keep staring at him, even though I've showed you that I'm engaged with 8 seconds left. That was an idiotic call by a young umpire. So
I agree with that. That's one of those that's like, I think that'll smooth out over time. Like they'll understand that there's the letter of the law, and then there's the situation where if it's a matter of a fraction of a second, you can't, you can't ring a guy up with 2 on, 2 outs, and 2 strikes and just say that's the end of the at bat. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I know that if you throw a tantrum, which Rocco could have, you get thrown out of the game and you're going to get fined because a lot of people are saying, well, the letter of the law, he was correct. Well, don't enforce the letter. I can guarantee you, nobody in the other dugout's going to be screaming, he wasn't engaged. Call him out. It was stupid, but that was, I don't know. It's the penalty. It's the penalty we're paying for having having much improved baseball as far as time's concerned. So
now,
although we had one the other day, 14 innings, it went over 4 hours. I saw that went over 4. Who was it? Cleveland and Houston. Neither of them could score a run in the extra innings. So
even for 14 innings, 4 hours isn't too bad.
I think it was over 4. I think
wow.
It was over 4. So anyway.
MGM Wine and Spirits is the choice for savings, service, and a great selection of spirits, premixed cocktails, wines, and of course, ice-cold beers and hard seltzers. With over 30 locations throughout the Twin Cities and beyond, there's an MGM near you. Head to mgmwineandspirits.com to find a convenient location in your area. Get social. Follow MGM on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest news and trends. Make great moments with MGM Wine and Spirits, your locally owned and operated choice for over 50 years. Save time, save money. Shop MGM.
Now they come home to play Milwaukee. I don't think Pittsburgh's at first now. I was going to say could have been a battle of the 2 worst first place teams in the history of baseball, but I think Milwaukee's out of first place now. There's that AL Central is dang near as rotten as the NL Central. The NL Central.
Either way, yeah.
Dang near as rotten as the
it is
as our division.
You're right. The Pirates are leading it at 34-30. Brewers are 34-32. Nobody else above 500. That's it. The AL Central is worse, but it is worse. It's close.
The Cardinals are. Kansas City is just a complete dead. Kansas City has the worst record in the franchise history.
18-47.
Oh God!
Yeah. We are back now to where the worst team in the AL East has the same record as the Twins. The Red Sox are 33-33, last place in the AL East, 14 games out of first. That's good enough for first place in the AL Central by a game and a half. It's a little different.
But I think people kind of wanted to enjoy this team this year, but I think they got everybody mad. I think they got everybody, the followers now. Most of their crowd is no longer the hardcore watching every game type of crowd. They go to have a good time and stuff. I think their attendance will be better than it was last year. But it's as far as the real true baseball fans, this team disgusts them.
Yes. They just
with the way they hit.
They're a hard watch. They're a hard team to watch.
Oh God, yeah! Strikeouts are just incredible, and as I said, I think the game they won, they struck out 17 times.
They did, I think Bobby Nightingale Jr., our new Twins beat writer, wrote that one. Did a good job of pointing out all those strikeouts they had and all the winning in spite of it. I loved the Baldelli quote from Sunday's game. He tried to sugarcoat. He said we had a good series overall here after that lead. He said, knowing that we had the lead late, it's hard. Those are hard games to walk away from when you don't hold on to a game you should have. The sweep's right there and we let it go kind of stuff. So even he couldn't quite find a way to sugarcoat that one.
You sent me a good quote, though.
Yes.
You and I were both struck by the same quote. David Popkins, the pitching coach.
Oh, yes.
Who I've never even talked to. Hitting coach, excuse me.
Yes, hitting coach.
Hitting coach. We had way more barrels than they did. Okay, the
yes,
barrels,
5 to 7 more barrels the other day when they lost to Tampa Bay.
5 to 7 more barrels. Boy, Tampa's worried about that as they got the best record in history. So Donnie Barrels is the nickname of Solano, right? Somebody Donovan Solanos. They started calling him Donnie Barrels in San Francisco. Well, I'm going to now start calling this guy Davy Barrels. That's our nickname for Hopkins. Davy Barrels. Who Barrels? I keep hearing about. We love the Morneau and Plouffe and these guys. All we hear about is barrels. They're putting it on the barrel. That's all you can do. You can get a base hit. That's what you can do, and you cannot. It's hard to get a barrel when you're striking out 15 times a game.
Right.
It's an embarrassment how often they're striking out.
It is.
And Kepler got himself another week by hitting a home run.
Right.
I was convinced that if he came back, that they might release him today. That he was so horrible, and they got Joey Gallo has to come back now, and Wallner's still doing well, and I thought they'd get rid of him, but then he hit the home run. So now he'll get another week to agitate everybody with his ineptitude. So
maybe he can get some more barrels, though. Maybe he can get some more barrels. Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like on the very face of it, you get it right. If you hit the ball harder than the other team, you expect to be rewarded. But it's been timely hitting pretty much all year that's doomed them, and that's not always about hitting it over 100 miles an hour. That's about having a good at bat and putting the ball in play and finding a spot on the field where someone's not standing and getting a hit when it matters the most. And they haven't been able to do that.
In other words, Louis Arise.
Yes, exactly. The face that came to mind as I was saying that.
Yes, Louis Arise. He hits it where they ain't. Rod Carew, he hit it where they weren't. So I don't know. I was the only trouble with winning 2 out of 3 is I had a good Wednesday column idea for Wednesday print, and I'm gonna have to sit on it because looking back at it now, what went wrong with the 2023 Twins? I was gonna
I like it.
Get it over. What went wrong with the Twins? The column, but when they pulled that one out on Saturday, that kind of ruined that.
Took the steam out of it. Patrick, I'd still read it. I don't know. Don't shelve it too far. Adrian Heath, manager of Minnesota United, gave David Popkins a run for his money with the absurd quotes. They lost 4-0 the other day to Montreal. Now they've got a big layoff. I don't think they play till the 24th.
International. Is this an international opening here, or what is it?
I don't know what this break is. I don't know if it's just
period or something.
I know they've played a whole bunch of matches, and they've played some midweek matches. And now they got 2 weeks off. That schedule is all goofy. He said we've conceded poor goals, the first 2 especially, but in between that we played really, really well. Heath said. I know some people who hadn't watched might not think that, but that's the case. I think we had better chances than they had tonight. That's the equivalent of more barrels right there. Better chances in a 4-0 loss.
As I'm not Mr. Footsie. I'm not a big expert on this stuff. But I got a hunch when you're ahead 3-0, you're not worried about grade A chances. You're kind of playing a little defense, right? You're kind of concentrating on the other end of the field, so to speak, the pitch. So that really did that seemed desperate. Is he feeling the heat here or what?
I don't know. Maybe
they're averaging, unless it changed. Last time I looked, they were averaging less than 1 goal a game.
It is less than a goal. I think they've scored 15 in 17.
How can that be possible? And you can still be competitive.
And here's the thing. Kind of like Popkins, there is an element of truth to it. My soccer go-to friend is John Marthaler, and he said that I was texting him. I was like, how absurd is this Heath quote? He said, well, according to American Soccer Analysis, Minnesota United has had a better expected goals number than their opponent in 6 of their last 7 games, including the one they lost 4-0. So they're either getting terrible goaltending, they're not finishing their chances, or expected goals is a totally meaningless stat. Take your pick. But when you lose 4-0, I don't think you can come out that. If you lose 2-1, I think you can say that. You can't say that when you lose 4-0.
Well, here's the other part of it. You're in Montreal, and St. Clair is one of Canada's goalies.
Yes.
They sit there and watch
Right.
him give a score. Does that get you excited?
Yeah.
International period. He played
Right.
for them, right?
Right. Yeah, he does.
He's one of the 2 goalies, right?
Yes, he is. He is. And that's a good question about whether he's finally feeling the heat. I mean, there's a big segment of the Loons fandom that has wanted him out for quite some time, but they keep making the playoffs. They keep, they keep making the postseason. I think it's been at least 4 years in a row, if not 5.
The top 7 make it.
Yes, top 7 make it. I think it might be even more now. It might be
really.
Yeah, I feel like they changed their format. I gotta look that up now, because when I look at the standings now, there's some kind of shading on the top
9
now instead of the top 7 in each division. So if
maybe
that's the case,
they did the NBA thing where they got a play-in.
Do they have a play-in now? They might. Let's see. Oh, yeah, new playoff format for 2023. I must have missed this at the start of the season. So we're all gonna learn something together here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Additional pair of single elimination games. Let's see. So seeds 1 through 7 automatically qualify. Seeds 8 and 9 are in the wild card. Yeah, so each seed 1 through 7 qualify for a best of 3, and the 8 and 9 get into a wild card.
One doesn't get a bye anymore in the first round.
Correct.
Get a bye in the first round.
Yep, 8 and 9 play in a 1-game playoff and wild card, and 1 through 7 get a best. They're a best of 3 now, though, which is interesting. Best of 3 opening round.
Really?
The 1 through 7 series are, yeah.
What does the how many? I know we were up to 20-some teams. I know, but that's so 9 out of maybe 13 or something
in each conference. Yeah, I think there's.
Jeez. What is amazing is this doesn't exist anywhere else in soccer, right?
No.
We're the U.S. You have to have the playoffs, and the rest of the world, it's the season's over and they had the most points, they win.
Right.
So anyway,
MLS has 15 in the East and 14 in the West now. So 18 of 29 will get into the.
If you got enough cash, baby, they'll keep taking your money and adding teams. They're adding them every right.
And somehow the Loons have fallen lower than that spot, although there's the 8, 9, 10, and 11 right now all have 20 points. Minnesota United has 5 wins, 5 draws.
We're not in the top 9.
Losses. We're not quite in the top 9. We're kind of tied in that 8 through 11. All 4 of those teams have 20 points. So very possible they'll still make the playoffs, perhaps.
We had those grade A chances, baby.
As long as they keep getting grade A chances, as long as they keep hitting the ball with the barrel of the bat, I think things are going to turn around for both of those teams. It's just, those are excuses on par with we had better time of possession in the NFL, or we had the hockey coaches always lamenting that just didn't get puck luck that night. Like, you know what? The really good teams don't have to complain about that, do they? They just don't.
True. Hey, time of possession, that's my favorite all time, because I always recall Nebraska 84, Gophers 13. We had the ball for 39 minutes, baby.
Isn't it because Nebraska scored on 80-yard plays all the time?
Because their possessions were 50 seconds.
Right.
They went up and down the field.
That's amazing.
That was we beat, you might brag, Nebraska, but we beat you by 18 minutes in time of possession. So take that.
I got to find that game now. I got to find that box score, because that's amazing. That's amazing.
It is. I know we had a decisive advantage. It might not be. And Peter Nigerian, the great Peter Nigerian, had a school record 21 tackles in that game. Most of them 12 yards down the field, but they were.
Yeah, here's I'm just looking at all the scoring plays. In the first quarter, Nebraska had a 27-yard run for a touchdown, a 68-yard pass for a touchdown, and a 70-yard pass for a touchdown. Irving Fryer had both of those long ones.
That's when they forgot to cover Irving.
That's a bad idea.
They like put 10 guys on a line of scrimmage, and Urban's out there on the right, waving to the quarterback, saying, "Hey, Turner, throw me the ball here," and he ran down the field for a touchdown.
Nebraska had 6 scoring plays of more than 40 yards. So that'll do it. Yes, time of possession was 37-25 to 22-35 in favor of the Gophers. Basically 38-22.
8-22. Okay, so
and Nebraska lost 2 fumbles in that game. The Gophers didn't lose any. So they won the turnover battle and the time of possession battle, Patrick, and they still couldn't win. They only lost by 71.
We just had bad luck. That's just like Adrian's boys in a 4-0 loss. Wow, what a way to go into a break. Get hammered, but we're still getting 19,000 every time we open the building over there. Nice. It's nice to have the the fan base that really is there to have a good time.
Yes.
We got our Bruce McGuires and those guys, the hardcores. There's 20%, 15% of the crowd actually cares who's playing, but 85% of them are just there to pay $13 for a beer and have a good time. So
yes. Gophers remained committed to the run in that game. By the way, they ran the ball 49 times, and
they wanted to run, so they went to 100.
Not as successful as Nebraska running the ball, though. Nebraska had 55 carries for 595 yards.
What was their total offense? 700.
Over 700. Yeah, it was over 700 yards.
I was unforgettable. It was great. It was unbelievable. It's one of the 5 most amazing events I've ever covered in a long career.
Oh man, I can't even imagine. Speaking of total offense, total defense, Patrick.
With Nebraska this year again, baby. We can. Not quite the same.
Not quite the same on either side of the ball. No, you're right. Hey, before we go, we got a couple things to get to here. Vikings have minicamp this week. I don't think they're too worried about Justin Jefferson, even though he hasn't been there yet. I think that'll get taken care of with an extension here at some point. But the one that you got to watch for is Danielle Hunter. He doesn't seem too happy with his contract, hasn't been there yet. Patrick, I think our colleague Lavelli Neal wrote about this last week, and I think we've been talking about this for a while now. If they can't get something done with him or decide that they don't want to kind of go where he wants to go, who is going to pressure the quarterback this year
especially that whole new defensive scheme with the very aggressive Brian Flores?
Yes.
You got to implement all those aggressive things, you got to have some players, right?
Yes, so you would think so.
And another big loss for them, a guy they actually tried to sign was Tomlinson in the middle. I wonder why he bailed. Was it all money? He got more than they wanted to pay him, huh?
I think so. I think they couldn't give him what he wanted, so that was
Miami? Where are you going? Where did he go?
He went to Cleveland, I think.
Really? Well, I mean, you gotta, if you got rid of Smith, I agree with getting rid of Smith because of his injury history, and Hunter's had the injury history too. But you gotta keep him. You gotta figure something out, and I don't blame him either for going and trying to get the money. I mean, so it will be interesting to see. If he doesn't show up for minicamp, it'll be interesting to see if these guys play hardcore or not, and hardball, and fight him, and and then turn it into and when you do that, you can turn it into a genuine feud, right?
Yes.
You do that. Yeah. So I don't know. They have the same benefit as the Twins have, though. They got the division.
Yes.
I mean, this idea that Detroit, half Detroit's team's not going to be playing because they, gambled on draft
gambling suspensions, yeah,
or stupid grand gambling suspensions. So plus they're Detroit. if they have a good year, it means that it was an accident, and they're going to go back to being the Lions. And
Until proven otherwise, yes.
Yeah, the Lions are the greatest thing, and the Bud Grant wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I always use the best stat ever. Brad Childress and Mike Tice were 16-1 against the Detroit Lions.
It's amazing.
The Detroit Lions are the gift that keeps on giving. Packers are going to be bad. The Bears are the worst. A lot of people think are going to be the worst team in the NFL. So they have the division. They only got to go 9-8 to win the division. So maybe they've decided to this is when we get our salary cap in order and we can start things again. Of course, if the NFL or one such cheating financial geniuses, their salary cap would be about $300 million a team if the players were getting the share of the money they should be getting. So it is amazing the way the NFL is able to shield money. But yeah, you got to bring Hunter back. If you get this aggressive approach that you're saying you're going to get, he could be back to being a 15 sack guy. So they got to sign him. I would think he's never had a tight relationship with this team, though, as he's always kind of
Patterson was always his guy, and then he left. So
they got to sign him though. But
gotta keep him.
It's you have I like to have fun with the Viking fans because they're so apologetic for this team at all times. But so I think we can, if they don't show up, we can hit the ascension angle this way. There's dissension out there.
Schism. It's a schism.
Yeah, it's a schism. Bring back Zim. He could bring a locker room together.
That would be great. Now I'm kind of rooting for it just for that. But Tomlinson, by the way, 4 years, $57 million with the Browns, including 27.5 guaranteed. So that was probably more than they wanted to do for where they are at that point. But yeah, I mean, it's good for him. He was a good player. They're going to miss him for sure. Kind of helped him in the middle with the run and the pass rush from that spot too. But yeah, we'll see where they go. But you're right. I think they got to hang on to Hunter. Otherwise, I don't know where they're going to get any pass rush this year. And no Dalvin Cook. I mean, it's a much different team than last year. I know we talked about some of these guys that were getting older. You got to kind of hit reset, but man, it's just a lot of players that have been around for a long time that you at least knew, even through their faults. You kind of knew what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting from a lot of the players this year right now.
What do we think of the offensive line? Is it tidy there? Are we satisfied?
They're all back. I mean, I don't know. I think it kind of depends on
Bradbury. Season. Bradbury turned out to be better than we thought, right?
He was okay. Yeah, they brought him back. O'Neill's coming off that injury. That's the big one. Can he be healthy? Can Darisaw stay away from the concussions? If both the tackles are healthy, they'll be okay at least, because there's pretty good tackles finally for once.
One guard, and who's the other guard?
I mean, last year it was, who was it? The rookie, right? Ed Ingram. I don't know who Ingram and Cleveland.
We might have seen the best that we'll ever see from Kirk, so we're going to have to protect him, I think.
Yes. So, anyway. Pat, really quick, the Lynx honored their 25-year team, Sylvia Fowles jersey, retirement Sunday, and they honored her with they scored the last 17 points of the game, right?
Yes, rousing comeback. Now I'll give them one great victory like this on a thing, but let's get back to losing here. Come on. For Caitlin, that's our motto. We want to end up 8-26. We want the most ping pong balls.
There's 40 games this year. You got to go worse than 8-26. So,
well, okay, 10-30.
10-30.
The goal, and because you got to get Caitlin Clark here. Somebody asked me yesterday, Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark. Lay up, baby. Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark will bring in more people than Paige Beckers. You got to play Saturday afternoons and Sunday afternoons. You'll have 5,000 Iwegians here for every game. So, and plus she's a better player. She's a more dynamic offensive player than Paige is. So, collapsing for Caitlin, and Caitlin does have the option of returning to Iowa for another year, but
Yes.
All those NIL clients of hers will stick with her when she goes to the WNBA. So she's going to come out and play after this year. And she's supposedly kind of a Lynx fan from her youth. She was at a game up here. She was at a Wolves game here, wasn't she? With her boyfriend is one of the McCaffreys, and one of the Fran McCaffreys. So let's get Kate. Come on, let's get Caitlin up here and make this franchise dynamic again. This is one playoff win since Maya Moore stopped playing. So
yes, yep. It's all about 2024.
Nice to see Maya come back though and be happy, hugging Cheryl and the whole deal. So
yeah, it was
pretty good too. So she probably played again. So
it was good for them. Good weekend. Honored all the players. It still amazes me that the 5 best players in 25 years of the franchise all played together right in the middle of.
That is the starting lineup. Is your 5 best players ever. It's pretty amazing.
Guess we know why they won 4 titles.
Sylvia wasn't here for.
She was here for 2 of them. Yeah, she was here for 2.
Last 2 of them. So.
Yeah, there was. I think Taj was the center for one of them, and Carvel was the center for the other one. But those later years when they got Sylvia and kind of let them stay dominant in that last kind of when some of those other players were still really good, but were getting to be a little bit older. That was pretty key. So it was a reminder of how good they were, and they've got to get some more players if they're going to get back up there, and that means 2024 draft for sure.
All right, Michael.
All right, sir. Appreciate it. Take care.
Right. If you want to, the Brewer fans, the Brewers won't have many fans here, but if you want to show up and boo the hitting that you're seeing, go ahead and do that because maybe Emilio will sneak out of the bullpen and he can boo him just like when Rod Davis back in the old days.
Maybe they can play roll out the barrel.
Yeah. All right.
See ya.